This book right here, I've read it 3 times. And every time I recommend it to someone, they come back and say, why didn't anyone tell me about this sooner? So it's about 2 men, a janitor named Ronald Reed and a high-powered CEO. One of them died with $8 million in the bank. The other went bankrupt. Can you guess which was which? The janitor was the millionaire. Ronald Reed worked as a gas station attendant and a janitor his entire life. He drove used cars, lived really simply, and quietly built an $8 million fortune that he left to charity when he passed away. Meanwhile, the CEO, despite making millions each year, lost it all. Because here's the thing. What I've learned from this book and from my own journey is that wealth isn't about how much you make, it's about how you think about money and how you manage it. I know I am speaking from a very privileged position, but the principles I'm about to share, they're exactly what helped me get here. And more importantly, they're gonna work whether you're making minimum wage or 7 figures. But what is most important about this isn't just a book about money. It's a philosophy of life, particularly pertinent for entrepreneurs who are looking to live a life on their own terms and become masters of their own destiny. So before we dive into these game-changing insights, I've created something super special for you. It's my 10 steps to scale your skill set and 10x your impact guide, which includes our ideal client decoder tool, which will unlock your fresh business idea in just a few minutes. So just write, give me the guide in the comments below, and we're gonna send you the link to access it on demand. Okay, so let's get into the 6 insights I've gotten and put into action from this groundbreaking book. Insight number 1, wealth building is an internal game. So when it comes to money, your brain, your mindset, it's everything. The truth is money isn't necessarily logical, it's emotional. You can have all of the financial knowledge in the world, but if you don't understand your emotional relationship with money, none of that knowledge actually counts or matters. Whether you're trying to make your first million or keep your head above water, your relationship with money is much more about psychology than a spreadsheet. And each of us has a very unique mindset that's been largely shaped by our life experiences. The economic conditions you grew up in, the lessons you learned watching your parents handle money, and even the triumphs and tragedies of your own financial life, they all play a part, they all shape you. So here's what Morgan Housel writes in the book. Some people are born into families that encourage education. Others are against it. Some are born into flourishing economies, encouraging entrepreneurship. Others are born into war and destitution. I want you to be successful and I want you to earn it. But realize that not all success is due to hard work and not all poverty is due to laziness. Keep this in mind when judging people, including yourself. It's just too easy to beat ourselves up about our financial decisions or judge others for theirs. But when we recognize that our relationship with money is a product of our life experiences, we can replace all that criticism with compassion towards ourselves and others. With the realization that our money talk has been shaped by forces that we weren't even really that conscious of, we can finally be free and stop fighting against our past and our subconscious and start proactively building a more positive future. So what does this actually mean for you? I want you to take a moment to think about your own money language, the patterns that either hold you back or push you forward. And remember, even though your money mindset was shaped by your past, it doesn't mean it's set in stone. So I'm gonna give you an example from my own life. There are 2 sentences that I banned from my language, from my vocabulary, when I started taking my financial future seriously. So much so that I'm not even going to say them right now. Those things will never come out of my mouth because I believe that you speak your reality into existence. So if I speak those words, I'm creating that reality for myself. So even when I had no money and I was scraping by and could barely cover my rent, you would never catch me saying those words. Now this brings us into the next piece of this, actually creating breathing room. So the second crucial piece of this is super pivotal to my own success, and it's the idea that there is great power in creating a margin of safety. So when most people think about financial success, they focus on making more. But here's what I've learned. It's not about how much you make. It's about creating space to breathe, room to maneuver and be agile, a buffer that really lets you make decisions from a place of clarity and proactivity rather than desperation. So think about what happens when you're financially stressed. Maybe you're in this position right now. Every decision becomes reactive. You're always playing defense, always one step behind. Even have a small financial cushion, that's when you can start being proactive. So that's when you can start playing offense, and that is a power position to be in. Even when I was barely scraping by, I made sure to put a small amount aside, not because I had it to spare, because trust me, I did not, but because I understood something super vital. That little cushion wasn't just money in the bank. It was buying my freedom to make way better decisions for myself and for my life. It was buying me a small cushion of time, and time is the one currency that you could never make more of. I really like to emphasize this margin of safety isn't about being conservative or playing it safe. It's actually about being super strategic and smart. It's about understanding that the biggest risk isn't in missing out on the next big opportunity. It's actually being forced out of the game entirely because you didn't give yourself enough room to maneuver. So a margin of safety lets you think clearly, move deliberately, and make decisions from a position of strength rather than fear. So I want you to consider this. What would it look like if you started creating your own margin of safety today? Not next month, not when you're making more money, but today. Even if it's just a teeny tiny amount. Because remember, we're not just talking about a savings account here. We're talking about buying yourself the most precious commodity there is, the freedom to choose your next move. Creating this breathing room is about ensuring you are prepared for the unexpected. Because no matter how smart you are, no matter how carefully you plan, life has a very interesting way of throwing curveballs at you. So think about driving a car. You don't wait until you're a millimeter from the bumper in front of you to hit the brakes. You leave space, that crucial margin for error. So when something unexpected happens, you have time to react, to adjust, to change course, and to help you drive your car. So, like I said, I've created a free resource called the 10 Steps to Scale Your Skill Set and 10x Your Impact, which gives you an excellent roadmap to building what we call a freedom-based business around your existing knowledge or skill set. So it even includes a very powerful tool called the Ideal Client Decoder, which will help you identify your ideal client and what you can actually offer to them. Comment, give me the guide in the comment section below, and we'll send you the link to access it on demand. So let's get into the third piece, which I call perfecting your $1 million sun salute, which I know sounds a little crazy, but stay with me. So the ones who succeed aren't necessarily the smartest or most talented. They're the ones who approach every challenge with a growth mindset, seeing opportunities where others see threats. This isn't about throwing everything out and starting over every time something doesn't work. It's about having the courage to look honestly at your results and the humility to say, I can do better. So every misstep isn't a failure, it's a part of the process, it's a stepping stone. Every challenge isn't a roadblock, it is an opportunity to grow. And real lasting wealth isn't built through unwavering certainty. It's actually built through flexibility, through the humility to look at your beliefs and your strategies and your actions and say, maybe I'm not doing this right. Maybe there's a better way. So when you start to see every pivot, every adjustment, every maybe I got this wrong moment as progress rather than failure, something does shift for you in a big positive way. You stop trying to be perfect and you start focusing on being better incrementally. That's when you build something that lasts. So think of it like the ultimate yoga move for any yogis out there. It's a mental sun salute. So just as a yogi learns to flow and bend with grace and strength, the most successful people and the most successful entrepreneurs learn to be both flexible and grounded. It's not about bending until you break. It's about finding that perfect balance between stability and adaptability. So I want you to consider this. What belief are you holding on to that might be holding you back? What truth about your finances are you clinging to that might need re-examining? Because sometimes the biggest opportunities aren't in what we need to learn, but instead they're in what we need to actually unlearn. Okay, so this brings us to the next concept, which is find your enough. So I'm going to tell you a little story. So there was a party on Shelter Island, and Kurt Vonnegut tells his friend Joseph Heller that their billionaire host, a hedge fund manager, had made more money in one day than Heller had earned from his bestseller Catch-22 over its entire history. Heller's response? Yes, but I have something he will never have. Enough. Enough. It is such a simple word, but it might be the most powerful concept in this entire book. Because one of the hardest financial skills isn't making money. It's really not. It's understanding how much you really need. How to determine when enough is enough. What do you actually need to live a life that brings you joy and peace? Whenever I feel that scarcity mindset creeping in, I ask myself, how would I spend my day if I had absolutely no worries in the world? And this is the interesting thing. The answer is usually surprisingly simple. I'd take long walks, I'd spend time with my friends and family, I'd do work that really matters to me and makes an impact, and that realization is liberating. The things that truly bring us joy rarely require endless hustle or sacrificing your peace of mind. None of them require millions in the bank. If you look at someone like Bernie Madoff, before he became the world's most infamous fraudster, he was legitimately making $25 to $50 million a year. He had more wealth, freedom, and power than most people can imagine. But he risked it all because he didn't know what enough looked like. He lost everything because he wanted what he didn't have instead of protecting what he did. There is a huge, profound lesson in there. There is no reason to risk what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need. We see this all the time. So take the time to understand what enough means to you, because it truly will make the goalpost stop moving. It will shift everything and immediately give you a sense of peace. So my question for you that I need you to consider and answer is, what is your enough? Not society's version of enough, not social media's version of enough, your version. Because once you know that, you can stop playing the endless game of chase and start building something that actually matters. So once we understand what our enough is, there's only one currency that truly actually matters. It is not money. It is not money, it is time. I know that's easy for me to say, but it's not money, it is time. True wealth isn't about the numbers in your bank account. It's about having control over your time, the freedom to choose, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want, pays the highest dividends that exist in finance. This isn't just a feel-good philosophy. Research shows that having a strong sense of control in your life is a more reliable predictor of well-being than anything else. You can make 7 figures a year, which might sound nice, but if you're trapped in a schedule that you don't have any control over, and if you can't choose how to spend your days, are you really wealthy? I learned this lesson firsthand. Even when you're doing work you love, doing it on someone else's schedule can feel just like doing something you hate. That's because at the top of the wealth pyramid isn't money, it's autonomy. This is particularly vital for entrepreneurs. We often start businesses chasing freedom, financial freedom, but end up creating elaborate cages for ourselves, trading time for money, staying locked in constant hustle mode, letting our schedules be dictated by everyone but ourselves. So the real question isn't how much money can I make? It's how can I design a business that gives me control over my time? Because money's greatest value, and this cannot be overstated, is its ability to buy freedom of choice. So let me ask you this. If money wasn't a worry, how would you spend your time? The answer to this question isn't just a daydreaming exercise, it's actually a roadmap, because building true wealth isn't about reaching some arbitrary financial goal. I can tell you that firsthand. It's about creating systems and revenue streams that let you own your time, make choices freely, and live life on your own terms. That is wealth, which brings me perfectly into the next key concept. You have to play the long game. And I know that's not sexy, but it's the key. It's the key to sustainable, long-term legacy, success, and wealth. Think about planting an oak tree. In the first few years, you might not see much happening above ground, but beneath the surface, those roots are slowly and steadily spreading out, creating an unshakable foundation. That's exactly how real wealth is built. Playing the long game changes everything. If you invest for just one day, it's a coin flip. 50-50 odds of success. Push that to a year, your odds jump up to 68%. But give it 10 years, now you're looking at an 88% chance of coming out ahead. Time isn't just an ingredient in building wealth, it's your secret weapon. Morgan Housel puts it perfectly in the book. Compounding works best when you can give a plan years or decades to grow. This is true for not only savings, but careers and relationships. Endurance is key. We undermine this when we continuously chase the next trend, hopping from one shiny object to the next. Sound familiar? Okay, so the real power move, having an approach that aligns with your values and your goals. We gotta know those first. Because when things get tough, and they inevitably are going to, that is life, it's that emotional connection that gives you the strength to stay the course. Knowing yourself allows you to endure. So this is especially crucial for people who have businesses, people who are entrepreneurs, because the temptation is always there for quick fixes, particularly online, launching endless services or one-time gigs. But sustained success comes from building systems that compound over time, creating courses and programs that deliver value year after year and build a lasting legacy. Got a question for you. So what could you create today that you'd still be proud of 10 years from now? What roots could you start putting down now that will support not just next quarter's income, but the legacy you actually want to build? Because just like that oak tree, your success isn't measured in days or weeks. It's measured in decades. It's about creating a legacy. Stay rooted in your strategy. Keep your head down during market storms. Focus on progress over perfection. And remember, the one who wins is the one left standing. Looking at all these insights, it's obvious to me that the path to true wealth isn't about luck or good timing, and I am proof of that. We have weathered a lot of storms, but by giving myself safety and really playing the long game, it's allowed us to stand the test of time. It's about having the right mindset, creating space to breathe, staying flexible, defining your enough, understanding time is the ultimate currency, and like I said, playing the long game. You master those principles, and you won't just build wealth. You're gonna build a really rich life of true freedom. And before we go, like I said, I've created a free guide for you to cash in on all of this. It's called the 10 Steps to Scale Your Skill Set and 10x Your Impact Without Trading Time for Money. It's my bulletproof business plan. It's going to give you a proven roadmap to monetize your existing knowledge. Comment, give me the guide in the comment section below, and we'll send you the link to access it on demand. And don't forget, watch this video next, where I will build a 10K a month business in 10 minutes using AI, so you can see a blueprint to follow to actually build your wealth through the existing knowledge that you have. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to hear your takeaways in the comments. I hope this was helpful. It was a little bit different, so I'm curious to hear what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.